course, our guest of honor this evening, Mr. Tom Lawless, who will say a few words, and it looks like he's already signed a few autographs and whatever else he's got in his bag of tricks. And at the end of our get-togethers, you can see there are going to be some refreshments, so feel free to stay around till they're gone anyway. And also, I'm going to thank first and then introduce the MC, Mr. Jerry Buchek, whom I imagine many of you know, a former Cardinal himself, still very much involved with the Cardinals. It was because of him that we were able to have Tom Lawless here this evening, because of the St. Louis Baseball Cardinals. You'll probably explain all that, Jerry. Okay? So I would just like to introduce Mr. Jerry Buchek to you.
Thank you, Father Sheridan. Before introducing our special guest, there's a few things I'd like to take the opportunity now to tell you about. Myself and a group of former Major League ball players have gotten together this past year, and we formed a baseball, so to speak, camp that we're running. We have run 4 camps now in Belleville, Illinois, Mitchell, Illinois, Little Rock, Arkansas, and Memphis, Tennessee. We've held these camps, or clinics, whatever you like to call them, and we've had 8 to 10 former Major League Baseball players conducting these camps and helping them with it. We also have a main headliner that we feature. Some of the players, for instance, that we have at these camps, we've had Bob Gibson, he was at Mitchell, Illinois, Hall of Famer. We've had Kurt Flood. We've had Tom Lawless and Kurt Ford of the Cardinals. We've also had Orlando Cepeda. We will be having him this coming year. And the instructors are Bill Gagliano of the Cardinals, Joe Harner, Mark Littell, Mike Tyson, Ted Savage. These are all former Cardinals. And we also have Roy Seavers, who played with the Washington Senators and the Browns. Jim Delsey, another member of the Browns. Cal Neiman, who played with the Cubs, was a catcher. Frank Baum, who pitcher with the White Sox. Jim Donahue was a California Indian pitcher, and Bud Zepno, who played with the Washington Senators. So what we're trying to do is have these clinics and work with the kids and teach them the basic fundamentals. So really to establish good working habits for the kids. And if they have any bad ones, we try to correct those. And the cost of the camp is $49. This is a whole day deal. So for St. Stephen's Parish, it will be $35. If anybody's interested in it, they can contact me after the program. I'll be happy to give you the information, give you name and address, and I can send some brochures on it. We also, for adults, we have a fantasy softball league at Jamestown Sports Complex. We're just finishing our session. I don't know if you've seen it, but we had some articles in the Southside Journal this past Friday, and we were on Bill Wilkerson and Wendy Weiss show this past Monday from 9 to 10. We were talking about the league and what we're conducting down there at Jamestown. So really, we're having a lot of fun out there, and we have a lot of participation out there. We had 8 teams out there, and we have an 18 league. We're having a championship game this Sunday. Anybody who would like to come out are welcome. There's no charge for coming out and watching the game. And we're going to have 4 games there. We'll have a playoff game. We'll have the championship game, and then we'll have the one team who wins the championship will play the former Major League ball players. So if anybody's interested in anything, you can contact me after the program. I'll be happy to help you with it. Now I'd like to get into the program and get into our special guest. Here's a man who was the only one ever to be traded for Pete Rose. I don't know if anybody knew that, but the only one. He played for the Montreal Expos, Cincinnati Reds, and is currently a member of the pennant-winning St. Louis Cardinals. He played the 1987 World Series and did an outstanding job filling in for Terry Pendleton at third base. And who could forget the dramatic home run, the 3-run homer? I think we all remember that shot that he hit over Frank Viola to win the 4th game of the World Series. So let's give a nice round of applause to the man that they called Mr. Lawman, Tom Lawless.
good to be here. I always enjoy going out into the community. I've had a little trouble finding this one though. I'm from way out west, and coming into the south, I've never been in this part of the city, but it wasn't bad. I got around through the park, and it was nice. But Terry asked me to come over and talk to you and say a few words. I'm only going to say a couple things, and then I'm going to open it up to question and answers. I'll do the answers, and hopefully there'll be lots of questions. We have a lot of baseball players. There are a lot of young kids out here that look like they're going to be athletes someday. I just want to talk a few minutes about, the drugs, alcohol involved in baseball and all the sports. I'm sure everybody's seen the commercials on TV, the Just Say No, with the president and through all the government associations that say Just Say No. I think that's a great program. I think a lot of help is coming from the governments, and through our Players Association, we've done a lot of good in cleaning up the drugs and alcohol in our business, baseball. I don't know about football or the other ones, but I think there's no place for drugs or alcohol in professional sports. I think as a young kid, if you start getting hooked on drugs at a young age and you carry on through college, and then if you do happen to become a professional at it and you get into it heavy, I don't think you can perform at a level that you can be productive. I think your reflexes get a lot slower. You don't do the things that you're capable of doing, and people are gonna criticize everything you do. I think as kids grow up, when I grew up, I knew there was a lot of peer pressure. There's this one kid over here was drinking all the time, so everybody was hanging around him, and if you weren't drinking, then you weren't involved. I think I grew up in a situation, not in a big city, in a little city where it wasn't exposed as much, but it was still there. It was a problem, and I didn't get involved. I tried to stay my own person and tried to be the person that I wanted to be. I didn't want to be involved in drugs at the time. I didn't want to be involved with alcohol. But I've seen a lot of young kids come out of high school right into professional ranks, and just see them deteriorate in 1 or 2 years, with drugs and alcohol. So the only point I'm trying to get across is the young kids that want to become an athlete, whether it be soccer or football or baseball or whatever. Just try to be your own person. Don't do the things that you think are right. If you want to do drugs, fine, do them. I mean, you're going to get caught someday. You're going to end up in trouble, probably in jail, and it's not a good situation. I've seen it happen. I mean, if you go on the other path and you want to be an athlete and a good athlete and perform and maybe someday be in the major leagues, then if you don't do the drugs or don't do the alcohol, you're going to perform at a level, and someday you may be an Ozzie Smith or a Jack Clark or a Tommy Hoare or somebody that has made a name for themselves, but they've done it in the right way. And that's all I want to say. I don't like to talk about it. I think in our sport now it's cleaned up. I don't think there's it's a problem. I'm sure there's some people still doing it, and their day will come. I mean, I'll give you one example. The guy from Los Angeles a couple years ago, Steve Howe. I'm sure everybody's heard of him. Now there's a young kid that was 22 and had a career that he could have been a superstar. And through drugs and alcohol, he just deteriorated into nothing. I mean, he came back last year and he got caught again this winter. So there's just one case where a guy has a chance to become a great ball player, a great name for himself, and now he's just, in the gutter somewhere doing nothing. And it's a shame, but it happens, and, I just, hope it doesn't happen to any of you guys. Just be your own person, that's all. And the other thing I want to talk about is hard work. I didn't think so. I didn't get a response to that one. You guys are like me when I was your age. Okay, for all the athletes, whether it be a girl or a guy, okay? You guys hate practice, right? Oh, there we go. I like that. When I grew up, I hated practice, but now that's all I do is I do a lot of practicing. the only way you get better is to practice, right? So practice and hard work and listening to the coaches, the people that are helping you, learn the game right. You only can get better by learning and practicing. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to be the greatest person out there when you go out there to play baseball or football or whatever. You have to work at it. You have to listen. You may not like listening sometimes. People criticize what you do. They criticize me when I do it right now. But, someplace along the line you have to accept some of the criticism and hope that you can be a better ball player for it. I don't think, even at my stage of the game, I've been in the major leagues for 4 years now. I'm constantly listening to other people and trying to make myself a better ball player. I don't think there is a perfect ball player out there, whether, in any sport. I think the only way you can get there is through hard work and learning more about what the game is all about. So I'm just here to tell you guys to, work hard at it, and don't give up. If somebody says you can't do it, get back up and do it. And keep doing it. They told me I could never play professional baseball because I was too small. I heard that for 5 years when I was in high school and college. You're too small. Your hands are too small. You won't be able to play the game. But I didn't give up. I just kept going at it, going to different places, and trying to get a start somewhere. And I finally got a start, and I ended up in the major leagues. I'm not playing every day, which I'd like to be doing, but I'm in the major leagues and doing something that I like to do, and with a team that I'm happy to be on. So now I'm going to open it up to questions. And I know someone's got a question about Jack Clark out there. Don't be shy, I got all night. Terry's got one.
How did you feel when you hit that 3-run home run?
Well, Derek, a man that got only 25 at-bats all year and gets a chance to play in the World Series, and I know you, but you might not have been there, but you know what I was, going through all year. To get a chance to play in a game, like that, or just to be a chance to play in the World Series, was a great thrill for me. I'll never forget it. But to do what I did, hit that home run, it's something special, and a lot of crazy things happened after that. And, I'm glad they happened. It benefited me, and it helped us win a game. And it was just a shame we couldn't pull that in the game out. But we'll go back next year and see what happens.
How much did playing in the dome affect the team?
I think it affected us a lot. I know the outfielders really didn't like playing in there. We worked out the day before the first game. We went in there, and there was nobody in the place, but we got in there, and the lighting. There's better lights in here right now than there's in the dome. You don't pick the ball up very well, and when it goes up, you can't see it. There's so many shadows up there, and I think that had an adverse effect on the way we had played. I think the best game we played was the 7th game in there, but I think it's just an unfair situation for a team, for visiting teams to have to go in there because of, I don't think a fly ball should get lost, playing indoors. I don't think that's fair to either team. And until they change something or the league makes them change, they're going to have an advantage when they play in there. The noise doesn't bother baseball or professional athletes because you love to play in front of noise. You can go to Pittsburgh and play in front of 2,500 people and you hate that. The more people, the louder it is, the more adrenaline you have going and you're really ready to play.
What do you know about Horner?
What do I know about Horner? He's a good ball player. I don't think he's played up to his potential in his 9-year career with Atlanta. I think he has a chance to do a lot of things on our team, hitting fourth. With Vince and Ozzie and Tommy Hurt hitting in front of him, and with the guy that's hitting behind him. If he has an average year, maybe say he hits 250, 270, say he hits 270, he's got a chance to drive in maybe 80, 90 runs. And I don't think he's really ever played on a team. He's always been in the shadow of Dale Murphy down in Atlanta. well, he's got a chance now to do something that, to show, I guess he needs to do something to show Whitey, that he can't play with what Whitey had said when, they got him. But that was the only person out there that the Cardinals could have got. I mean, there was nobody else unless they would have had to destroy the team.
When did you start the major league?
I started in the major leagues in 1982 with Cincinnati. I signed out of college in 1978. So I've been playing about 10 years now. Seen a lot of places.
Tom, at about what age did you decide that you wanted to become a baseball player? And then when you did decide, what did your mom and dad think about it? Did they support you in your decision?
That's a hard question right there. At what time? I don't think I really. Where I grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania, baseball is nothing. Everything in town is softball. I mean, we don't even have a lighted field. We finally got one about 4 years ago when the minor league team from St. Louis went there and played minor league ball and A-ball. So I think after my second year in college, and I went to a college in Erie, a branch of Penn State before I went down to the main campus to finish my college career at Penn State. And I think after my second year, my college coach had said, the Pirates are going to draft you in the draft. And I said, oh, what's the draft? I didn't know what it was, nothing about it. He goes, well, professional baseball, they think you might have a chance. So I had transferred, I was just going to a 2-year program at the time. I really didn't like school. I, wasn't really the college person school-wise, but they never drafted me, so I had to go back to school, which I really didn't want to do. But that was the only thing I could do now. I said, well, baseball looks like it's gone. I better get an education. But then after the 4th year, then I got drafted. So I think the first time, it really dawned on me that maybe I did want to play baseball was after that second year when they said they had drafted me. Because then the next year I went to some tryout camps, different teams around the area, Cleveland, and the Pirates had a couple, and Cincinnati had a couple, so I went to those. But that's probably, out of high school, and my senior year, we only played 8 baseball games my senior year because of the weather. So, that was the last thing on my mind was like trying to, well, I'm going to get drafted out of high school after playing 8 games. It didn't happen. My parents, I think that's, they supported myself and my brother. We played all the little league all the way up until we were 15, 16 years old. They were always going to the games and always taking us one here, one there, and really supportive of us. And I think there were, they never told me not to, pursue it. They kept saying, well, if you have a chance, give it your best. Because you only get maybe that one chance. In baseball, you don't get many chances in baseball or in any other, profession, because there's always somebody else out there just waiting to grab your job. So they just said, you'll give it your best shot, give your 120%, 115%, and do if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but at least you had a chance. There's a lot of, baseball players out there that never got that chance. And, it's a shame. Where I grew up from, there's only 3 or 4 guys that ever had a chance to play Major League Baseball because we don't get the exposure up there. It's the Northeast, it's cold, college. We played 21 games one year. We couldn't even play half the schedule because of the weather. And then you go to Texas and California, and they're playing 80, 90 games. So sure, the scouts are going to go there. They're going to see them a lot more.
Well, how do you think the football Cardinals, do you think that'll help them for the Cardinals not to be
I don't think, it was really, it's not going to affect the baseball team at all. I think as long as we can keep putting out an exciting baseball team, I think the fans in St. Louis are going to come out and watch us. And if we can get into another pennant race, it's only going to help us, the Cardinals, and the fans. The fans have been good to us, in '86 when we were so bad. We were so bad in '86. The fans still came out, and they could have booed us just as easily as they do in New York when those guys play bad, but they didn't. mean, they stuck with us, and we changed it around late in the second half, and we ended up in third place, and then we won last year. So, you know, it's a shame that football Cardinals left. I don't like to see a football franchise ever leave a city because it's too hard to get it back. You know, I don't think you're going to see a football team come back here in the next 1, 2, or 3 years. You know, unless, you know, expansion happens, and, you know, St. Louis might be lucky enough to get it, but I just don't think